Welcome back. The Biden administration says it, quote, strongly opposes the SAVE Act. We've told you about this bill before. This bill would require proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. The White House, however, says it is already illegal for non-citizens to vote, and the alleged justification for the bill is based on easily disproven falsehoods, whatever that means. The SAVE Act aims to purge non-citizens from our voter rolls and ensure only American citizens have a say in our election process. A number of Democrats also speaking out against that measure. Joining us now is Texas Congressman Keith Self, a member of the Foreign Affairs and Veterans Affairs Committees, as well as a retired Special Forces Lieutenant Colonel. Congressman, thank you for your service to our country, as I always say to you. But you wrote this on X: if you are here illegally and interfere in our elections, you deserve a pair of handcuffs, not an I voted sticker. Tell us more about this and why the White House is pushing back on the SAVE Act.
Well, Maria, there is irrefutable proof that illegals are voting in our elections today. Take a look at Massachusetts, Ohio, Virginia, amongst others. Frankly, Joe Biden is desperate because he has let in now. In fact, he's opened the doors for, 11 million illegals during his tenure alone. And they are turning them into voters faster than we ever thought they could. And I think this is totally part of his policy to get as many people across the border as possible, turn them into voters for a permanent Democrat voting machine over the years. That's what we've got to stop. Why is this bill even controversial? Why is it even controversial for citizens to vote in elections in the United States? I don't get it.
Well, that's right, Congressman, but you can't sit there as an observer and say you don't get it, right? I mean, you're an elected official. What are you doing about this? I spoke with Michael Whatley, the chairman of the RNC, on Sunday and asked this very question. And he's saying, well, the states have to be in charge and the states have to make sure this doesn't happen. But we're now a couple of months before the election. Can't you do anything about it so that we know that it's only American citizens voting? Here's Michael Whatley. I want to get your response. Watch this.
Sure.
We're working on getting out the vote. Number two, we're working on making sure that we have election integrity, that we are protecting the ballot. Over 90% of the American people think that only American citizens should vote in American elections. It is illegal for illegal immigrants to vote in all 50 states. We see that Congress right now is working to pass the SAVE Act. We support that. We think that everything should be done to make sure that illegals are not voting, that we have to have voter ID, and that we have to have protections on mail-in balloting. They want to invite chaos into our election cycle, and you really have to ask why. Because they cannot win on the issues. They cannot win on the policy.
Congressman, so tell us what you're doing about it.
Well, 6 days after I was sworn in, Maria, I filed a citizenship bill myself. We're late getting to the table, and I will be honest with that, with the SAVE Act, but we've got to pass this act. Frankly, I agree that you do not want the federal government running your elections. However, we must set minimum standards. We're the legislative branch. This is another example of a lawless president. He is the one that is charged with executing the laws that Congress passes. He is a lawless president on the border. He's now a lawless president advocating for something other than citizens voting in the election. So This is another example of Joe Biden's lawlessness.
I'm sure. But, you know, at this point, what can be done about it? I mean, you can't just say that going into the election, right? Are there steps that need to be taken on a state level that actually can ensure that illegals are not voting?
Absolutely. But they're getting the ID cards that are then leading them to be able to vote illegally in our elections. Frankly, though, the RNC has a team that they're going to send out, and they're making great efforts, of course, in the 19 counties that they talk about, to make sure that election integrity is upheld. But the state laws govern. Look at the 2020 election. The governors unilaterally, without the legislators, changed state law to allow people who should not have been voting to vote. Again, it's the executive branch, both at the federal level and the state level, that are breaking the law.
Well, this is very concerning, Congressman, and obviously we've got a spotlight on it and would like to see some serious efforts here. In the meantime, let's talk about the elephant in the room. President Biden sent a letter to congressional Democrats yesterday, doubling down on his refusal to step aside. He says he's not going anywhere for the presidential election. He will be the nominee. 10 Democrats are calling for him to drop out of this race, given that disastrous performance at the debate and clear mental issues here, capacity issues. Visitor logs reportedly show a Parkinson's specialist visiting the White House 8 times since last year. A Parkinson's specialist at the White House 8 times in a year. Biden's personal physician, meanwhile, releasing a letter overnight claiming that the president has only been visited by a neurologist at his annual physicals, stating that there were no findings of any disorder, Congressman. How should we be looking at this?
Well, isn't it amazing how fast the Democrats have turned on him? They've been part of the cover-up now for 3.5 years, and now they've totally turned on him. I'm reminded of the old Western song, prop me up and beside the jukebox if I die. Well, Joe Biden is politically dead, and they are propping him up next to the ice cream machine. But now they've turned on him, and what are they going to do? The hypocrisy is just amazing, Maria. I don't have any idea what they're going to do, but make no mistake, there will be brutal, desperate attempts to solve their problem before the election. This is going to be an exciting 4 months ahead of us.
Well, Congressman, if he is not mentally fit to run for president, how is he mentally fit to govern our nation? How is he mentally fit to run the greatest democracy in the world?
Maria, he's not, and everyone sees that now. Almost a parody, but I thought President Trump put it very well when he said he should ignore his many critics and move forward with alacrity and strength. He should be sharp, precise, and energetic. And all of America knows that is impossible for him today. All of America knows it, but they are in a tough situation with the vice president, because everyone knows that the vice president cannot beat President Trump in the election. They are stuck. And again, I can't wait to see what they're going to try to do to solve their problem, because they have a huge problem.
All right, we'll be watching all of this. Congressman, thanks very much for being here this morning and for all of your efforts, sir. We'll be watching your work.